Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Dana Scranton, and welcome to 8-Minute Wisdom. Well, today's episode is about answering a question. Has the traditional corporate culture finally croaked? Well, I think the answer to that question is no, but there are some serious changes going on that represent opportunity for the individual and for the world of entrepreneurship. So let's chat a bit about this. Well, let's reverse back to the pre-COVID era. Prior to COVID, 5 to 7% of employees had the option to work remotely. And in some areas, like the Bay Area of California, many of those high-tech companies out there offered, or if not flat out mandated, that people work from home 1 to 3 days a week, as an example. And that started the acceptance of the remote work culture in a corporate sense. Now, during the COVID era, what happened was 42% of the workforce was working remotely. That's huge. Now, fast forward to today. In the opportunity-based economy that we're living in today, remote work is something to be taken quite seriously in many different ways. Right now, in this modern era, post-COVID era, what it boils down to is 14% of employees, full-time employees, are working full-time remote. 29% are hybrid. That means that they're working part-time in the office, part-time remote. Now, if you take and add those two numbers together, that's a big number. 43% of the workforce is engaged in remote work in some way or manner, either full-time or part-time. That's huge. So where's the opportunity in this? The opportunity is that when you work from home, as an employee, you are in essence working just like a solo entrepreneur operating from their home, a coffee shop, wherever they may be, because you have the same technology, you have the same remote autonomy to a certain extent. I mean, let's face it, when you're working for somebody as an employee and you're remote, there is a certain amount of ethical responsibility to stay on task, to do the job, to put in your time. It's just like being in the office. The only difference is you have the autonomy to get up and do a few things, take care of a few issues during the day and continue to work later. Still have to make the meetings, the online Zoom calls and so forth. But there's a degree of autonomy there. But more importantly, the work remote scenario that many people find themselves in is very similar to solo entrepreneurship. You are operating from a place of your choosing, home. In some cases, maybe it's a location that you've always wanted to live in, like here in Whitefish. We have many people who moved here during the COVID era who are now remote working. So you have location freedom, you have a certain degree of autonomy, and you have the freedom to learn how to become an effective value adder to your employer and whoever their clients or customers may be. When you do that, you're training yourself to be an effective solo entrepreneur. Solo entrepreneurs operate remotely. That's who they are. That's the lifestyle that they've chosen. Some people call it a laptop lifestyle. Essentially what it is, it's an autonomous mobile lifestyle that allows you to be a conduit of value to the people who have needs that they want fulfilled and the source, you're the conduit between the source and the user. That's what a remote worker is essentially doing. They're a decentralized entity of the corporate culture, meaning they're operating somewhere else other than being in the office, but they're still executing on the same value-added proposition that got them hired in the first place. The only difference being is now they are in training to be an entrepreneur if they so choose. Now, I'm not advocating that you become unethical in your remote work responsibilities, but as a remote worker, however that is executed, you are in a scenario to enable yourself to also become a remote entrepreneur. Not to interfere with your work responsibilities, but the bottom line is the same disciplines are in play. Okay, you sit down at your workspace at a certain time every day as an employee. As an entrepreneur, you either have a schedule or it's a flexible schedule, but it's the same phenomenon. You have the discipline to sit down and execute on the task. The only difference here is in an employee scenario, the task is assigned. It's understood. It's part of a project, say. Whereas on the entrepreneurial side, the task is part of achieving the bigger goal, the greater vision, the purpose, whatever it is the entrepreneur is seeking to accomplish. In both cases, you are a conduit of value to someone or something. The transition that is going on from traditional corporate culture to that of the future is remote. It's decentralized. And with the onset of AI and advanced robotics that are coming, I would predict it's not going to be that much longer before you, as an individual, if you so choose, can control a manufacturing operation remotely. Maybe that can be done on a contract basis as an entrepreneur. Maybe you're an employee. Be that as it may, what I'm saying is the technology is moving in a direction to allow the individual to contribute more to the well-being of society, humanity, even if that society and humanity happens to be a corporate entity. Remote work is something that will continue to grow. It is a trend. And as an entrepreneur, you can tap into that and use it to your advantage to create freedom and autonomy in your life and bring your passion to the fore and help a lot of people in the process. So that's the wisdom behind the question today of, has traditional corporate culture finally croaked? No, but it's heading in a direction that ultimately might just be a good thing for many of us. Well, that's today's episode. So we'll see you out there on the frontier of possibilities and all the opportunity that resides out there. And of course, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.